Hey guys, PJ here with Exotic Car Hacks, and today we're looking at something that was supposed to be exotic, the new 2020 Toyota Supra. Look at this. Looks amazing, right? In concept drawings, all of us got so excited for Toyota saying they were going to release a new Supra. And then this happened. They gave us this complete giant piece of shit that ultimately is nothing more than a Z4 BMW that somehow was built in conjunction with Toyota to welcome the new Supra. So, at first glance, I can't say that I'm not extremely disappointed. This was almost as bad as the new Aston Martin Vantage redesign, partly because the biggest drawback to this was not the front, which was very terrible looking, but really the back with the tailpipes that, look like two giant penises. It's just so bad, right? It's just terrible looking to begin with. And honestly, it looks more like the rebirth of the Scion, or I should say the rebirth of the Celica than the Supra, which was really, really disappointing to see Toyota not make something closer to this, right? What it was originally supposed to with the air brake and all of these things. And yeah, I think we understand that the cost was going to go higher, but this is where I think one of the big things for me was when we saw Honda take the NSX, something that was like an iconic purist car, and adapt it to an exotic for the future. I think that was the right idea, right? And I know the NSX took a lot of criticism for not being the original killer NSX that was 6-speed and the purist car, but what it was in its time was an advancement, and what it was in the end was an advancement. And I think that here, what Toyota has done is something really terrible that I feel more and more manufacturers are doing, which is they've taken an icon and they've mass produced it to a level where everybody can afford it, which makes it completely worthless. I feel like the exclusivity of these cars, the exclusivity and the rarity was what made things exciting in their era. You went back in the day when I was in the Fast and Furious original era, not the shit you guys see today with the action pack, but I'm talking about when we were racing Supras on the street and street racing wasn't really an illegal thing. It was rare to find a Supra. When someone had a Supra, you were against what was exotic at the time with your Honda Civic or your Integra Type R or something. And today though, when I feel like you see a Supra, you're just gonna be like, oh yeah, well here's another one of the Z4s driving around with a hardtop. So it's just really disappointing to see that Toyota didn't really try to build the platform that it would lead the rest of their line off of, similar to what Honda did with the new NSX, similar to what Lexus did with the LFA, and instead of bringing back a better icon, maybe an exclusive icon, even at a price tag of $100,000, it's just taken something and said, hey, anyone that's got 50 grand can now have a Supra, so you can relive the past in a shittier BMW setting. So very disappointing, and I know rumors have it, they might even have a 6-speed in there, which I find to be even horrendous in a way because a 6-speed piece of shit still doesn't justify that it's not a piece of shit. So unfortunately, I must be one of the first to voice my real opinion that the new Supra is probably one of the greatest disappointments in automotive history, especially for this decade, as we were expecting an icon to come back, and I think all we really got is a mass-produced Z4 with a hardtop. It looks like an Alfa Romeo, a Scion, a Celica, whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't look like it's going to hold weight to becoming the next icon, and I think that's where the disappointment is. And unfortunately, for those of us that expected something like this, or like this, even a convertible version, or even something closer to this, wider, bigger, with features that made it kind of different and exclusive, we're not going to get a Z4. So, if you enjoy having a real honest opinions on cars and not some bogus paid-for opinion by some manufacturer, then make sure to subscribe to this channel, as I'm going to be doing more videos like that, in my opinion, on some of these new cars coming in, good or bad, right? And of course, we're going to have to drive it to really reserve final judgment, but I don't expect to actually own one anytime, because I wouldn't drive anything that's like so cheap looking and so crappy, and that's built up of a Z4. It just takes away the whole thing. But make sure to subscribe to this channel. Let me know your thoughts on the new Supra. Do you think it's an icon? Do you think it's going to become the next icon? Do you think it's going to take place next to a new NSX, an LFA, and actually hold its ground? Or do you feel like it's a complete waste of time and it's going to go down and depreciate down to zero? So again, if you agree or disagree with me, leave a comment, subscribe to this channel, and make sure to click the link in the bio. See you guys next time.